Sydney architect Ian Moore is known for his elegant houses and apartments, but I took the opportunity to look at a small warehouse he's recently converted in the inner Sydney suburb of Surry Hills. The only thing is that no one told me it was double fronted, so I found myself at the back door before eventually making my way to the main entry to meet the man himself.
My client had previously lived in a warehouse in Paddington, and she was looking to move to Surry Hills and wanted, ideally, a building that was, I suppose, flexible enough to create a different environment to the typical terrace house. As soon as I saw it, I knew that it was the right property because it had all of the basic requirements that she had, but it also had an unusual presence and the ability to create something quite unusual and quite unique within it. It was a former grocery warehouse, so it was effectively two relatively open spaces, only closed in slightly in the 70s when it became an artist studio. She basically gave me a brief which was for one of my houses which she'd always loved, and she very much liked black and white. She had a collection of black and white photographs that she had been collecting for many years, and so there was just something about that connection which could have been built into it. And then she was very particular about having a bathroom which was extremely well lit, both in daylight and an artificial light, and having a very big bathtub. And that was effectively it. There were two main conceptual ideas that flowed through to every aspect of the job. The first was simply how we integrated the black and white into the whole sort of dialogue that was developed in the design process. And the easiest way to explain it is that simply everything that's white was existing, even though it may have been lined, it may have been painted, everything that's white is original and it's still there. Everything that's black is a new insertion. And even down to the point where the main stair, there was obviously a stair that came to the upper level originally, but it actually ran in the opposite direction, and that was taken out and replaced with a new one, hence the new stair is black. And where the front door is, which was formerly a loading dock, it was a condition of approval that we lower the floor level there to enter directly off the footpath rather than having an external stair which would have been on council property. The little stair that flows from the living area up to the kitchen similarly used to be on the eastern side of the house, and we've now moved it to the western side, so that's why that's also in black. The second part of the process was simply putting the physical dimensions of what the requirements were down on a piece of paper with the internal dimension of the property, which is 4.65 metres. Once we deducted the minimum 700 millimetres for the guest bathroom, laundry and storage on the eastern side, the minimum 3 metre internal width for a garage, and then 850 millimetres, which minus the handrail you're getting down to around about 750, which was pretty much the minimum for a stair. When you take all those dimensions away from the 4.65, we were left with 10 millimetres. And that was what we had to build the wall between the garage and the stair with, and it also was a structural wall that had to support the new stair opening and create the wall all the way through that space. So with 10 millimetres, it obviously couldn't be a standard framed wall. It had to be some form of sheet material, and the only sheet material that had the physical strength to do that job was steel. So the 10 millimetre thick steel plate was adopted not only for that wall, but then it flowed through as the structural element. Wherever we required a structural element, it became 10 millimetre thick steel plate. So the entry portals at both of the street frontages are framed in 10 millimetre steel plate. The beams are actually fabricated beams, again using 10 millimetre steel plate, even down to the bookcase in the living room, which is all fabricated in 10 millimetre steel plate. The only other major decision that was made was really to insert a bathroom on the upper level, Previously there was only one on the lower level where the guest bathroom is. And so to put that into the space, which was a formerly open warehouse space, obviously it had to be black because it was a new insertion, but it also had to, in my view, not diminish that sense of it being one complete space. So I didn't want the bathroom to go floor to ceiling, even though for privacy and other reasons, acoustic reasons, we needed it to. So the decision was made to adopt the datum of the height of the existing window openings behind us here to create the top of the black box of the bathroom, and then to use clear glazing above that to allow light to spill into the front sitting area and the bedroom at the rear and the passageway on the side from the new high-level window that was inserted into the bathroom. And so what was formerly a very dark space in the centre of a deep plan became a very luminous space. Yes, well, the bedroom, from a very sort of pragmatic point of view, we wanted to put it further away from the main street and away from the top of the stairs, so it was more private because there are no real walls up here, and certainly no doors. So the idea that you put it on the southern side of the bathroom and we could then effectively screen it from the main space but still make it feel as though it was part of it, so it has a little bit more intimacy and privacy. And also we were able to integrate the wardrobes into the side of the portal that comes up above the front door on the southern elevation, and also integrate the other half of the wardrobe into the black box of the bathroom. And I suppose that's one of the things that's always a bit difficult about a warehouse or a loft space, is how to create separation of spaces without destroying that sense of it being one large open volume. So I think it's been very successful in that respect. And with the clear glass around the top of the bathroom, again providing an additional amount of light coming into the bedroom, as well as taking the glazing up from the front door straight up to the upper level to allow that southern light to come through.
Well, what a wonderful house, and what a beautiful house as well. Actually, it's bigger than it looks. Still, there were problems on how to fit everything in to the existing space. Architect Ian Moore resolved the problems, partly through skillful planning, but also through the imaginative use of steel plate, which acts as a structure for the house, but also acts as a creative or sculptural element as well. What he's managed to do here is create a truly urban house, but one which is also private and intimate, and at the same time without any sense of being constricted. And he's really created space by manipulating light. Now, combined with the poetic palette of black and white, this has resulted in a truly exceptionally beautiful home.